as the tabloid news is doing their best to sink their claws into the Trump administration, dealing with Epstein, James Dean, and every human being. You should have known something was up. Check it out.
How folks, ICE officials are going to be granted access to personal health information that includes addresses and ethnicity to 79 million Americans who are enrolled under Medicaid as a way to try to track down illegal immigrants in the United States. This information is according to the Associated Press, and it's still an ongoing issue that not all the details have been publicly announced yet, but this is rather concerning and likely violates our privacy protection laws under HIPAA, because this is personal health information that is being used for non-health reasons. Therefore, it is a privacy violation, and it's already being challenged by 20 states in this country legally. The information that they may be able to get access to includes names, addresses, birth dates, ethnic and racial information, as well as social security numbers of people who are enrolled in Medicaid. This agreement will allow these agents to access the data, but they can't download it, and they can only look at the data apparently from 9 to 5 up until September 9th. Keep in mind that undocumented immigrants cannot get access to Medicaid because they do not have social security numbers.
Yeah, they have limited. They can get emergency Medicaid. People, I doodled something. I wrote down, like I've said before, immigration is the tool to be used beyond our current norms under the guise of security. It's an intrusion in that otherwise would not be allowed. Tell me if you agree with this. Because now, ICE, baby, has... I don't believe. From 9 to 5 until what, September? We know they got all these big computers out here. They can probably get all this done. This, people, you talk about dystopian. We are here. Let's go into this thing. Here we go. Trump administration hands over Medicaid recipients' personal data, including address, to ICE. Maybe that's what Trump was saying when they first interviewed him when he was running for president. Maybe he was talking about revealing this information. Because y'all keep talking about, he talking about releasing information and the files on Epstein. I think y'all got it twisted. It's crazy. Immigration and custom enforcement officials will be given access to personal data of the nation's 79 million Medicaid enrollees, including home addresses and ethnicities, to track down immigrants who may not be living legally in the United States, according to an agreement obtained by the Associated Press. I can also see them going after people who have this or fall under the category of waste, fraud, and abuse. Oh yeah, I can see folks, yeah. Ooh, and then they cross-reference it in a database. Oh Lord, I can see that. The information will give ICE officials the ability to find the location of aliens across the country, says the agreement signed Monday between the Centers of Medicare and Medicaid Services and the Department of Homeland Security. The agreement has not been announced publicly. Now, people, in your wildest dreams, when you thought about Homeland Security, which came as a result of 9/11, when President Bush was president, fool me once, fool me twice. You know, that guy. I mean, did you ever think it would come to this point? This is why I teach the science of gradualism. See, I got a real old book about 35, maybe 40 years old, and it taught me how they do things just over time. And they do it like a turtle. and they peekaboo like a spider. Before you know it, you're caught up in the web. So now they're going to do this thing from 9 to 5 all the way through September. Baby, once they end, they end. Look, the way I look at it, and I do not claim to be a spokesperson for them, but my irrational sense, my nefarious sense would tell me once they're in, they're in. Read between the lines. Once you're in the system, once you in that computer, you in. Forget about that 9 to 5. Once you are in that computer, you are in. Put in the comment section if you know what I'm talking about. The extraordinary disclosure of millions of such personal health data to deportation officials is the latest escalation in the Trump administration's immigration crackdown, which was repeatedly tested legal boundaries in its effort to arrest 3,000 people daily. You think? People, this is just an outright excuse to go in all of our agencies. Can you not see that? This is a WAR on democracy. I don't care what nobody say. Associated Press just put it out. I don't know, are we at the point where they still discussing it? Or is it legal? They got it? They done signed over? This is crazy with a Q. What's next? I mean, think about it. What's next? I was taught HIPAA decades ago, and I feared HIPAA. I'm like, I had to have all my employees' files just right. Okay? And you do not disclose anybody's information. Am I right? You know how it go. HR grilled me very well, and I went by the law for decades when I ran businesses. People, that's the law. And Pharaoh just want to break it. This is crazy, y'all. This is crazy. They're usurping the law through illegal, I tell you. And they're going to keep on justifying it through, I told y'all, through immigration. Oh, boy. I asked God when I was a little boy, I said, God, how can a little man with a little mustache influence thousands of people back in the day to go after millions of people and try to overthrow their country? I wish I could talk about it, but I can't. But you know who this person is. That spirit is back in the land. This is crazy, y'all. ICE will use the CMS data to allow ICE to receive identity and location information on aliens identified by ICE, the agreement says. Well, people, if I'm a criminal and you made that announcement, I'm leaving my current address. Oh, Pearson, are you just too smart for your britches? I'm going to say it again. ICE will use the CMS data to allow ICE to receive identity and location information on aliens. Come on. Y'all don't think we that stupid, do you? Does the American government think we that stupid? They probably do. But like I said, if I'm illegal and I know this how you getting down, oh, I'm just gonna move next door. Or across the street. Come on, man, this is crazy. People, we have lost our freedom. You think? Such disclosures, even if not acted upon, could cause widespread alarm among people seeking emergency medical help for themselves or their children. Other efforts to crack down on illegal immigration have made schools, churches, courthouses, and other everyday places feel perilous to immigrants and even U.S. citizens who fear getting caught up in a raid. I don't want to read no more. I think y'all get the drift. Check out this other video.
The I-Team this afternoon, federal immigration and customs enforcement officials are being given access to the personal data of those enrolled in Medicaid. Investigative reporter Mark Rivera is live in the newsroom. And Mark, this will impact more than just undocumented immigrants.
It will, as the I-Team learning today, this information will include home addresses and ethnicities, giving ICE officials the ability to find, quote, the location of aliens across the country. According to the agreement signed Monday between the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services and the Department of Homeland Security. This disclosure of millions of personal health data to deportation officials is the latest escalation in the Trump administration's immigration crackdown, which has repeatedly tested legal boundaries in its effort to arrest 3,000 people daily. Lawmakers and some CMS officials have challenged the legality of allowing access to state Medicaid enrollee data to deportation officials. But the latest data sharing agreement makes clear what ICE officials intend to do with the health data. The agreement obtained by the Associated Press stating, quote, last time, data to allow.
We're done, people. We got to stop this intrusion. I don't know another word for it. This is I know you after illegals, but like I said, Biden let them in. That was on purpose. See, they play good cop, bad cop. They play the chessboard in front of our face so we can make a call of duty and say, hey, Biden was wrong. Let's get him up out of here. Got a commotion going on. People rebelling. Governors rebelling. Mayors rebelling. People rebelling. Riots in the street. People allegedly, getting arrested. Now we set a goal for 3,000 arrested a day, a week, whatever. And now you chew in on what you really, really want. And that is you want to it's a data grab. Just like Doge. It's a data grab, people. And like I said, once you in, you in. How do you fight a system of things where enough people don't get up and say, look, enough is enough? What are the legislators, how does an administration even think that they would test a Congress? We have a judicial, legislative, and executive branch of government. How in God's name do they think they can usurp the Constitution and everything that is in place and justify it because we have immigration? I mean, I understand tracking them down, but there's some things you just shouldn't be allowed to do. And you put it in here if you think I'm right. This, people, we're done. People, this is not a president. This is not a president. This is a president's, but it's not a president. This is going way beyond the authority. And this has got to stop. And we just had preachers at the White House the other day praying. Y'all saw them. And I'm asking them again. Are you watching the news while you praying for Trump? Are you watching the news? Preachers who laying hands on Trump. Are you watching the news? Are you watching your republic or your democracy, whatever you want to call it? Are you watching it? Because it's under siege. It's under siege. The country is under siege. And there's no other way to put it. You're going to take immigration as a way of means to go into and break and violate the HIPAA law? Whereas an individual or a company does it, it's a fine and probably what? Let me see. I think it's a fine and jail time. Let me see. What is the penalty to if you violate HIPAA? What is the penalty if you violate HIPAA? Here we go. Can lead to both civil and criminal penalties. Fines, while criminal penalties can include imprisonment. So we gotta get the Supreme Court in on this. Now I can only play a minute of what they had to say. So let me tell you, it's my understanding that 22 states have a lawsuit in on this thing. We better win that thing. They are going too far. And I'm almost to the point where Brother Al Green is. He should be impeached. Straight up. He got to be impeached at this point. Oh, Pearson, you're going too far. People, I've been alive long enough to know that this man only been here. In 3 days, it'll be the 20th. That's 6 months. And you're going to tell me in 6 months, we already at this? Can you imagine what the other 3.5 years will be like? This is not what this is not what we wanted. And I do believe all this was caused because their whole objective is the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, worship me or die, worship me or take the mark, worship me or you can't buy or sell, and control. And part of that aspect is to grab the data, your history, where you at, where you been, put it all in one database, dot your I's, cross your T's, cross-reference everything, and make the world a smaller place so they can control it. That's how I see it. Tell me what you think. If we don't need the Lord, we sure need him now. Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. That's all you hear. I don't care. Because this crap here that they pulling, Diddy, 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 Diddy. I don't care. I don't care. I really don't care. You know, sometimes when you date or relate to somebody over a period of time, you get to realize who they really are. This should let you know who he really is. I'm out.